जयपुर वाया कोटा।
कृपया ध्यान आपो अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत.
Lucknow Junction.
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವರೈ
Hyderabad Punjab Express পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন कृपया ध्यान दियो.
We move to picturesque Dharamshala today, which could be a land of opportunity for Punjab if they win both their games. Will Delhi be a party pooper? We'll find out. Welcome to Cricbuzz Live. I'm Saiyami Kher and I have Joy Bhattacharya and Lisa Sthalekar with me. I'm having some hot green tea and we've put the temperatures up, down to 16 because we didn't want to miss out. There's Simon, Pommy, Karthik, everyone in Dharamshala. So we said we should feel a little like Dharamshala in our studio today.
Hence why we've all got the jackets on as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but such a beautiful ground. It just feels, Simon was doing the toss. Everything was looking so good besides, the shoes.
Yeah, the shoes. I will speak to him about his shoes because he is fanatical about his shoes. But you're right. It is a beautiful ground. I've been fortunate enough to go up there and commentate and you just kind of get swept away by the mountains, don't you? Your eyes just keep looking up and seeing the snow-capped mountains and you just kind of get lost in that. The people are wonderful. And from a cricket point of view, you'll see a little bit more of a bit of a hassle in the field, or you won't be able, the players will kind of struggle to take the ball. So I wonder how many drop catches we may see.
Is it because of the cold?
No, because the air's a little bit lighter, so the ball travels a bit further than what you actually think.
But Joy, the pitch will assist more bounce. With Dharamshala, you can expect some good bounce in the pitch.
I mean, whatever Simon seems to be saying, this is definitely good bounce. Fast bowlers are doing well. Terrible shoes, really.
Thank you.
But and he has 80 pairs and he chose that one.
Exactly.
We'll discuss this tomorrow.
Okay, we'll discuss this tomorrow. But that's my point, that it's got that altitude is an issue, and altitude, the biggest problem is that altitude changes the way you take the ball, and therefore the balls that seem to be just reaching the field and the boundary just sail 3 feet over their heads, and that's the difference that happens. And to be honest with you, I think it's unfair on Punjab because you've come so far in this tournament. This is the business in the end of the tournament, and you're playing in a ground that maybe your home ground on paper,
Yes.
but you don't really know because you haven't practiced out here, you haven't played out here. And that's really, in my book, unfair because these are crunch games. I mean, I know Rajasthan did the same, a lot of teams did the same, but you can play those 2 games in the start of the tournament, it's okay. Right now, Punjab is about as new to this field as Rajasthan is, and as Delhi is, and that's not really an ideal situation for a team who's
Wants to qualify.
And well, it is crucial for them because Punjab needs to win both their games. So they play Delhi today and Rajasthan, I think, on the 19th. They are at 8, but if they do win both their games, then the doors to the playoffs open.
They're 12, so they can go up
yes,
to 16.
16, yeah.
8th position, which they can go up to 16th, but they'll still be praying. Even if they win both their games, they'll still be praying for someone else to lose to make it to the playoffs.
See, if they win, if you look at that, Punjab basically win both games and hope not more than 2 of Chennai or Lucknow, Bombay. See, the situation that you have now is that the 15s, the 16s they can reach. Who are the guys who can reach 17 is what they have to look at. Chennai and Lucknow can reach 17, okay? Mumbai and Bangalore can only get up to them, okay? If they win one game, then it needs a lot of results to go their way. The other thing is that if they win today, their last game, I think, is against Kolkata. And if they lose to Kolkata, then both end up on 14. So it's all tied up out here. Sorry, they play Rajasthan. They play Rajasthan.
I mean, I saw Ravi Ashwin's Instagram stories. That's why I remembered that.
But that's the situation. I think the only thing you can do in these circumstances, they have to win both. And the upcoming schedule is going to be really important for them because I think, look at it today. If Punjab wins today, then Punjab, all they have to do is win against Rajasthan. They're through. 16 will get them through. Hyderabad, Bangalore only helps Bangalore. Hyderabad is out of it. Okay. Delhi, Chennai again will be a dead match. Only difference it will make is can Chennai get to 17 and get to safety. Okay. Kolkata, Lucknow, very crucial match. Kolkata needs to win both their matches. Kolkata needs to win this match to get to 17 and hope that 14 and hope other things happen. Lucknow is already sitting pretty. So Lucknow wins this, they're on 17. But if any other team now gets above that, then the 14s are knocked out because you already have two 15s out there and you have 118. So basically, right now, the only question is, will any of the 14s qualify? And looking at this schedule, it looks very unlikely at this point in time.
I'm glad you deciphered that for us. I appreciate it.
Lisa, are we happy with Professor Joy Bhattacharya just putting it all out there, making it all clear for us? Yes?
Yeah, and the great thing is it was very concise. I think Pommy kind of went, I was a little bit lost with Pommy, but you've nailed it. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Sir. Thank you very much. Really appreciate this, but the update is that Punjab have won the toss. They've decided to bowl first. They will be happy to be bowling on that pitch, which is going to assist the bowlers, well, in the beginning and maybe even later, but just to start with.
More important, they know what the pitch is about. They have no
Yeah.
idea at this point. At this point, this pitch is as foreign to them as it is to Delhi.
Yeah, it's actually, I think the toss is a huge advantage because they don't know how it's going to play. They don't know what a pass score is, really. I mean, the last time an IPL game was played in Dharamshala was 2013, right? I think the game's moved on a little bit since then. And,
At that point in time, as you were saying, and Mumbai had not yet won a title.
Yeah.
You know?
See? So the game has moved on. The way that they're tackling it, even this IPL, is different than last IPL. So by winning the toss on a ground that you actually, both teams have no idea, it means that Delhi just has to go hard. And they may falter because of that, because they don't know what a par total is. And then whatever they put up, then Punjab will be able to kind of go, okay, let's break it down.
Yeah.
And we need to win this phase, then this phase, then this phase. It's an easier way. And professional players now prefer to know what they need to get to instead of going, shoot for the sky and let's hope for the best.
Well, the good news for them is that Rabada is in the team. So both Nathan Ellis and Rabada play.
I think we had this discussion. We had exactly this discussion because you're absolutely right. Now, a game like this, pitch prefers fast bowling Ellis Rabada because you see that there are other two players, Livingston and I'm sure Livingston and they're looking for Livingston and Curran. But the point is Sikandar Raza or Rajapakse was not giving them enough for them to justify that.
Yeah.
Now with Rabada and Ellis out there, I think this is the team I'm happy with. I know Lisa is also happy with. Now let's see that. Hope they produce the results.
Yeah, we'll have a look at the team once it's ready. But there's somebody who was extremely impressive in the Lisa, we were together when we saw the last game, which was Prabh Simran, all of 22. That knock looked like a very mature knock because he took his time. He knew that wickets were falling on the other end. So it was a very smart, intelligent knock. And well, the master validated it. And he said that he really likes watching Prabh Simran. He says that the unique thing that she really stood out was the sound of the ball on his bat. So, well, these words will be very sweet for Prabh Simran listening to the master talk about his innings.
Yeah, he's kind of threatened a little bit throughout the tournament, hasn't he? He's given us glimpses and he's actually played that impact role really well and come into the side. And, as a young gun, you want to say, hey, you put your flag in the sand and say, I'm here. And that's exactly what he did the last innings. You could see the relief, the celebration. It's almost like there's a sweet joy when you get something that you've been working so hard for.
Yes.
You've got to remember that these guys have been almost brought up on IPL cricket. So then to get into the side, to make a name for yourself and get a milestone like that 100, it's huge for them. And hopefully, he's able to back it up. It's hard too.
Yes.
Because you feel like you can go out there and you can just swing from ball one because you understand that, you feel like you're in this kind of groove, but he's got to reset and then go again.
But Joy, a lesson there for, well, I'm somebody who really likes when we speak about domestic cricket because it's just not given enough importance. Prabh Simran has constantly been performing very well we see the numbers here. So lesson there for cricketers that, domestic cricket is something which is very important.
Absolutely. And Prabh Simran, these are the numbers in Syed Mushtaq Ali. His numbers in the Vijay Hazare are also decent. His numbers for Punjab in Ranji are decent. And that's what, he's made a mountain of runs out there. That's the one thing you can do. That's really in your hands. And I think he's scored the runs out there. He's got his chances occasionally in the Punjab team, just hasn't managed to cement his place. Remember, he's not last year. His first appearance was in 2020, part of that set of players for Punjab thought these promises. Anmolpreet Singh himself, all these young players from Punjab were up and coming. But somehow that breakthrough did not happen. And I think one of the things that happens is once you get a century, it is a very big thing, because what it happens is in your head also you're clearer that you belong here. Till then you always have the doubts. You have the 30s and 40s and you say, do I have it to perform out here in this level? But once you've hit a century, you've been there, I think it sets it in your mind that, okay, I'm capable of playing at the biggest stage possible. And I think that breakthrough will be very important to him. Not so much in terms of play, but in terms of his psychology of how he looks at the game. He says, okay, 5 centuries this year, I'm one of those guys. And that will make him feel so much better about himself.
Well, good news for Punjab in the last game was also the spinners that came to the party, because I remember sitting here talking about Punjab many times over and saying that the Indian spinners have not really done anything, or the Indian seamers haven't done anything. But Harpreet Brar and Chahar, both of them, Harpreet Brar actually was very impressive with that 4 for 30. Again, a very heartwarming story of he wanting to actually quit cricket and move to Canada. And then he said, I'll give it one last shot. And well, he's got the Warner, Salt, Russo, Pandya wickets the other day.
Yeah, a really good performance from both of them. And you look at potentially them and their age and their experience, then you compare it to what the pitches were at the start of the IPL as well. Yeah. I don't think they were friendly for the spinners. And if you haven't got those years of experience to kind of fall back on, which Amit Mishra, Piyush Chawla have been able to do and turn back the hands of time, they get found out a little bit. Whereas now pitches are slowing up and it's assisting the spinners, and they're a little bit more comfortable, and Punjab are starting to win some more games. So sometimes just the feeling amongst the group, isn't it, that it rubs off on you and you go, okay, yeah, I can actually do well. And you can see the numbers for the first 10 games. Strike rate not great, 37. Only 12 wickets out of 10 games, and then the last 2, 9. So they certainly, the management, coaching staff and skipper will be wanting them to continue this trend of the last 2 games.
Joy, even Rahul Chahar, because he's a very important player. He was somebody we thought would spearhead their bowling with regards to spin, and then he didn't quite do too much. It was just good to see him 2 wickets, but he bowled really beautifully in the last game.
He bowled really beautifully, and see, that's the point, that again, the confidence that you get where you, if you remember, in the last over, Harpreet Brar came in and Delhi were absolutely sailing at that point in time. And Harpreet, then his first over, he sort of got his length all wrong, went for 13 runs.
Yeah.
And then he comes back, and that takes even more courage, because he got smashed in his first over. And then you thought that the game was over. And then he comes back, starts taking wickets and pressured the other end as well. And I think that's the one thing. Moment they start bowling together in tandem, both are going to get wickets, because it's who you're going to get away from. And I think Punjab uses a much more conventional strategy. Use them mainly in the middle, them and Sam Kerr in a couple of overs. That's their middle, really.
Yeah.
So, they really need to make a difference out there. Unfortunately, today, I'm not sure this is the kind of ground they enjoy.
This will be almost a test from the first 10 games. They may not get the assistance that they had the last few games. So have they learnt some lessons? You really would like to think so, especially in these crunch situations for Punjab.
We'll have a look at Punjab's playing 11, because we spoke about this is their bowling 11. So there is Rabada, who's in, Atharva Taide is in, and Nathan Ellis is in. So Prabh Simran will come in their batting 11. But they've got Arshdeep, Rabada, Nathan Ellis.
I think they've given themselves the best possible chance under these circumstances. They've given themselves, they've given their 2 international fast bowlers a chance. This is a kind of ground in which Rabada can do real damage. Nathan Ellis has bowled well throughout the tournament. So this is a fast bowler's ground. I think they've given themselves the best chance, and they've said a Sikandar Raza who's in form or not in form. Firstly, Sikandar Raza's bowling would not be much use out here. Okay. So Rajapakse has been, looked sluggish, not looked totally fit. So they've gone with this choice, and it's also an attacking choice. Taking another bowler is an attacking choice, saying, I'm going to get these wickets and I'm going to get them out. So I like that 11. I like the 11, and I think they put a bold step there. They put their best foot forward. Now it's all up to the teams, up to the players to deliver.
We'll have a look at Delhi's playing 11 and see if they have any changes. Well, Prithvi Shaw gets a game. Lisa spoke about this yesterday and said that they should give it.
Didn't we speak that day also, remember?
Yeah. But then I also, last night on Noon, I actually said Prithvi Shaw's going to have a big game. And I was like hoping that he'd actually come in and play. So I like that they've given an opportunity to him, because he's the future, or they get rid of him. So I think this is actually a crucial game for Prithvi Shaw. He's now sat on the sidelines for a while, probably licking his wounds and maybe working with the coaching staff of what he needs to do. And that was been the issue for Delhi, is the fact that their Indian batters just have not fired. That's why the balance of the side never quite worked, because they had all of those, their internationals in the top 4. And I like that Nokia is there because, guy that bowls that kind of pace on that on this kind of deck
This kind of track.
should be exciting.
But Mitch Marsh is out. So
That's okay.
it is. He's not been really performing because he came in, went out, came in. That's been the problem with Delhi in the last few games, right? Their overseas batsmen in the middle order haven't really done too much. So makes sense, I guess, to keep Mitch Marsh out today.
Yeah, I think if you look at it, if you look back at the team, what they're trying to do is, these numbers tell you a little bit of a story that middle order has done nothing. Rovman Powell, 3 matches, 7 runs. Ridiculous. It's not, I thought he had not played at all. I thought he had 1 match. It turned out he has 3 matches. But that's the point. That middle order has given them nothing. Has given them absolutely nothing. And the kind of bowling that Mitch Marsh does, this is not the best pitch for it. He's an intelligent bowler, but it's more cutters, it's more variation, slower. Slowers are not the most useful ball in Dharamshala because they go faster than they come, So today you need actual pace, you need actual, accuracy, swing if you get it. Of course, that's very rare.
I think also because he hasn't necessarily fired with the bat. I'm just looking at the scores. His biggest score was against Sunrisers, 63 off 29. But then nothing really
after.
Yeah, so I think they'll certainly keep him for future seasons, but it just hasn't necessarily worked out this year. And like I said, the balance doesn't quite work when you have 4 internationals in your top 5 or 6. It doesn't make sense. So they needed their Indian batters to come back in just to see where they're at.
Joy, they have nothing to lose. Of course, lots of people will be wanting them to win today, but Delhi has nothing to lose today. Warner was really angry with the team with the way they played in the last Saturday when they played, because they were 65 for no loss in the power play, and then they just went tumbling down, and there was no reason for them to lose. So Warner especially loves playing against Punjab. It's a team that he really likes playing against. And we will see Warner Prithvi again, but these numbers say a lot.
Spectacular numbers. Spectacular numbers. See, one of the things was, if you look at the last 4-5 years, other than Rabada, Punjab has never really had a really threatening attack. And the thing about Warner is, any attack which is not that great, he will master that attack. And the Warner that we know, the guy who scores 600 runs every year, he's the kind of guy who will not allow a mediocre attack to remain undestroyed. He'll destroy them. So I think the Delhi team is built on 2 principles. So before this, Delhi was just playing to win. So I think 50% of Delhi is playing to say that, we want to win, because it's all about also getting wins for us. But 50% of it is, what are we doing next year, which is where Prithvi comes in, Yash Dhul comes in.
Yes.
Yash Dhul is a very interesting character because he is an under-19 India captain, successful India under-19 captain. He's Delhi captain. Of course, knowing the politics of Delhi, how he became captain with all these players, nobody knows. But he's Delhi captain as well. And they reckon, a lot of people in India reckon he's got a great future ahead of him. So I'd be really keen to know why this kid is not playing so far. Maybe they've just kept him for a while, I
think he was also the highest run scorer in the Mushtaq Ali this season. So he's had a great season coming out of that.
Yeah. I think he and Prithvi both got a lot of runs in the Mushtaq Ali this year. So that's the thing. So I'm glad they're trying out these guys. I just don't know why they didn't try Yash Dhul at all. But perhaps today's the day.
But Lisa, Warner's spoken about how now when they play, they're just going to play freely and just play to have fun. And do you think we'll see that fun side to Warner and he'll play freely and well?
We saw a few smiles, didn't we, in the last game? But then, obviously, when the wickets were tumbling, the smile was wiped off his face pretty quickly. It's very easy to say we're going to play with freedom and have fun. But then to actually do it, a lot of these, they're competitive, right? They cross the line and they get into a fight and they want to come out victors. So when things don't go well, or if the standards aren't upheld to Warner's liking, I don't know if he can just stand there and smile and have fun. I think that element of his will still come out. There's a way that teams like to play, and there's a way that captains want their team to play. And Delhi have not fired at all. So it would be the most frustrating thing as a skipper and management to just sit there and go, well, we can't do anything now. We have to leave it to this. So they would have probably spent, I don't know how much time talking, maybe not a lot, and saying just go out there and have fun. But it's up to the players to take that on, and Warner, the senior players, to kind of lead that, which is hard because he's such a competitor.
Well, you know, we spoke about Harpreet Brar. I was talking about how he wanted to quit cricket and move to Canada. There's somebody else who wanted to quit cricket because he was juggling so many jobs. Lisa will tell us more about him. Nathan Ellis has been very impressive. Just to see him do what he's doing, considering the story, his backstory of being, I think, a landscaper, AC repairer, carpenter, so many things, and then managing his cricket in that. And now to see him become one of the spearhead bowlers.
Yeah, that was all like him coping to be able to pay for cricket, really, just a club cricketer, whether it be in New South Wales and Sydney, or when he actually packed up his car and moved down to Hobart. He was just in club cricket land trying to kind of figure out what he could do to kind of break into professional cricket. Just shows you if you're that determined, you're willing to kind of sacrifice a lot of things. I think even his girlfriend or fiance, I'm not quite sure, you know, through COVID was stuck overseas so they didn't see each other for a long period of time. So all of these type of things play a role, but he has always been very determined about playing professional cricket. And he has worked so hard, firstly in the Big Bash with the Hobart Hurricanes. You know, he kind of came in and he's not a big guy.
Yeah.
You know, he's not a strong,
there was a story there as well that he was not tall enough to make it in his under 12 or under 14 cricket, that he was not tall enough.
But you see, he's probably got the most energetic run-up. Like, he literally sprints in.
Yeah.
So for young people who are short in stature, doesn't mean you can't send down a thunderbolt. And then he's learnt the skills. So he's worked very hard to be able to, you know, I can swing a ball, then I can throw cutters, and then I can be a death bowler. So I'm your guy. He's like jumping up and down because he's a little bit shorter, jumping up and down, going, pick me, I can do anything you want. And he's taken this opportunity. So last year he kind of came in, he played a couple of games, whereas this year he's fitted in nicely as that death bowler for them. And it's so pleasing to see. And he's a guy that will do well in franchise cricket and I think T20 cricket for Australia for quite a while.
You know, you said death over bowler, but we can just have those graphics
I want to take a look at that,
Because he's pretty much bowled everywhere and been so impressive.
That's amazing. I mean, that is something that tells you a lot. That means power play, they like to use the other bowlers. They don't use him that much in the power play. That means he's bowling some overs there in the middle and then he's coming back at the death. And that's brilliant because that means he's a bowler who's giving you value at all levels. And I think this is also dependent on the kind of pitches they have. If the pitches are sort of slowing down, they use a lot of him in the middle as well with the spinners interspersed with the spinners. So I think that ability is what's kept Rabada on the bench. The ability to be able to bowl at any point in this game and be able to contribute out there. And I love it. And, you know, talking about tall fast bowlers, I was just thinking, in that era of giants, when you had the Garners and all these big guys, you had Malcolm Marshall, who was probably the most threatening of them all. He was the fastest of them all. And, you know, it suddenly reminded me because of the same thing you said, the pace of the run-up. That's very Malcolm Marshall.
It is.
They really run in very fast, you know.
Yeah, but you know, from one person who I'm trying to find where he's almost gotten lost in everything is Sam Curran, because he started off so well and it's almost like, where is Sam Curran? Because he's not really performing with the bat, not too much with the ball. We were chatting about this in the green room. You all have your ideas on what Sam Curran should do, Lisa?
Yeah, I think, you know, I'm just trying to think, when did he take over the captaincy as well? I think maybe at the back end of those first 7 games. So then that added responsibility and everything else, plus trying to figure it out. He didn't play last year, if I'm correct. Yeah, he didn't. Yeah. He wasn't part of IPL. Yeah. So it's all about trying to kind of get yourself used to it and accustomed to it. Team wasn't going well, you take it on board. Maybe he couldn't separate himself as a skipper and player. But the thing is, he's a class player.
Yeah, he is.
And he's done well for England. He's done well in franchise cricket. I think he'll be fine.
No, absolutely. No, I'll tell you one more thing. You see, one of the reasons why a lot of modern players get really confused is because a lot of what they do, the money they get is not commensurate necessarily with the results. So Sam Curran was a very smart bowler for Chennai, if you remember. You know? And then he goes and gets injured, doesn't come back in that last year. Now what happens that last year? He comes back for the World Cup, wins the World Cup. Had Sam Curran been in the auction the year before, he might have gone for 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 crores. He comes back in a year where he's just been the man of the tournament in a World Cup with nobody else there and lots of teams sitting on piles of money because they've released a lot of players. So Sam Curran suddenly gets this enormous amount of money. And can you imagine it? I've not played 1 year.
Yeah.
If Sam Curran had been there in 22, he wouldn't have got that money. Sam Curran would have probably ended up getting 7, 8 because in a full auction, you don't have that kind of money lying around usually to spend that much money. It's a small auction where you say, that guy I'll pay the world for. And so that also messes with players' heads, that, you know.
Yeah.
So I
Because
think...
we're just discussing players who, like Harry Brook we spoke about, players who've gotten so much money, we end up discussing them so much. I guess that pressure just comes...
No, and pressure comes with the team or management, you know.
Yeah, it's not just not the pundits and the fans. I think it comes internally as well.
And Punjab is a team where they will get to know if the management is not happy with them. I mean, no matter how much TB tries to insulate the team from the players.
I think the other thing that you were hinting towards me to talk about, because we discussed it in the green room, was about, you know, this tournament is a long tournament. So potentially there are some players that burn out. You know, there might be a trend. If you look over the course of an IPL, they start off well, then they kind of fade at the back end. It might be an opportunity to send players away somewhere, whether it be up to the hills or to the Maldives or something like that, away from the actual group, give them a game off when they have that period. So all of a sudden it becomes almost maybe 6, 7 days, their family come down, they just recharge and get them back. I just think if you're spending that much money on them, but also there's so much money to qualify for the finals and win the title, maybe the smart play is to manage their workload somehow and keep everyone fresh, which is hard because they're literally getting on a plane every other day and a different hotel. That's taxing.
But has that ever happened, because you've been with KKR in the dugout, that you can just say, okay, you all can just take a 2-day break, just go away, come back, recharge?
I think there are two parts to it. One is taking a break. I think teams do that when you have 4 or 5 days off. Now, one team went to Goa. But I think what she's talking about is also away from the environment of a team. Because suppose you're not performing well, you're just being reminded with all the guys around you that this is the atmosphere in which you have not performed. So we're taking it away. I've seen RCB do it with Gale, but the problem was that if you do it with just 1 or 2 players, you're just creating a situation in the team where others are wondering why they don't get that facilities and they do. But there is a serious point for it, because I have seen players break down in the middle of a season and then just they're mentally shot, you know. And I've seen it with batsmen, I've seen it with bowlers. I've seen a bowler, India level bowler, get smashed so badly that after that he just didn't want to play. And the best thing could have been under those circumstances to just send him home for 3 days. Because, you know, he just wanted to be in familiar territory.
Sometimes you just need home cooked food.
You need home food.
Home cooked food and
a little bit of TLC from mum or dad or whoever you might get it from. I think it's really important. But I also think at the moment there is a tide that's turning here in India around mental health. Now, obviously, in Australia, it's quite prominent, and that we've had a number of players that have taken a period of time to have a break. Glenn Maxwell is one. Meg Lanning was another one. And they're very public, and they said, I just need a break. I think that we're going to start to see that happen more in India, and I think it should happen because I feel like they're under the most pressure out of any cricketer in the world.
Actually, Virat's spoken about it in one of his podcasts, so I was really happy to hear Virat talk about it, because when like a Virat Kohli talks about it, if at all there are people who don't want to come out, they can come out and speak about it.
No, I think you need to also, and the pressure in India is more than any other country in the world. We treat our cricketers like gods and goddesses. And so from that situation to, you know, for the fall from grace is also equally precipitous. You really go down a lot. So, look, I feel the money is there. There's no doubt about the money. I think now we've also established over the last 8, 10, 12 years that this IPL, every player is treated well. You know, in the beginning that used to be an issue, saying, you know, some players are treated better, some players. I think now there's enough money, everyone's treated well. There's really a case, I genuinely feel, for sending players maybe home, sending players, say outstation players off to a retreat somewhere, just get them 2-3 days, clear their minds. I mean, I think Prithvi would have been really well off going away for a few days. And I think teams have done it. They have sent players home, I know, and said that, come back after 3-4 days, feel better about yourself and come back. Let's see where that works.
All right. Like I've said this before, lots of people officials listen to Cricbuzz Live, and they hopefully will take the advice of Joy Bhattacharya and Lisa. There's something, I have spoken about this again and again, that the points table completely confuses me. There's something else that completely confuses me. That's Mr. Joy Bhattacharya's joy factor of the day, but he's with us, so he's going to take it away.
No, and yeah. Okay, this is just having fun. Which specific organization connects Sachin, Shaurav with Pommy and Rajat from our Cricbuzz team?
Actually, I knew this one.
Yep.
You know this one?
I know this one.
I'm just having fun, but I think it's something worth knowing.
Yeah, it's a nice...
So you know everything about Sachin, don't you?
Of course, that's what one moment I put the name Sachin out there, I knew she'd know the answer.
She didn't know.
Shoe size? Tell us, you know.
You do know.
No, I don't.
You sure?
She's just...
She does.
She does.
Well, I know that he had a special shoe for the India-Pakistan game because he had broken his toe, the 2003 Centurion game. Anyway, I should not get to my Sachin stories because we have a match to watch and we have to do our prediction games. So we have to get to our prediction. Lisa, please pick who goes first today.
She's looking at 2013 for
No,
data.
I'm just there going, let me just pluck a number. I'll go first. And I'm going to go 181.
Ooh.
Who's batting first? Delhi. For Punjab's sake, I'm going 170.
I was actually going to go in that lower space, 181, 170.
Go really low if you want.
I will go with, no, but it's really like a playground. It's such a tiny ground, Dharamshala. It's like a little small playground. It looks really tiny. 181 you said. I'll go with 190.
Okay, you're all there.
She wanted to go low and now she's gone even higher.
But we're covering a lot of ground. Let's
Yeah, because once there's no, like below 170 is too low for Dharamshala, and now you have 180, so 190.
Okay.
Team sport, learning it, team sport. Like I said, we want the Dharamshala atmosphere around us, so we're going to go and order some hot momos today because that's what you get in Dharamshala, which are delicious.
True.
And maybe some nice chocolate cake, Lisa. We'll wait and see if we can do that. Well, these are the specialities in Dharamshala, which is why we are doing it. Otherwise, very, very conscious of what we eat here. We've spoken about this many times. We'll go and do that. And you all don't forget to join us the 10 over point at the Cricbuzz Combox.
Jaipur via Kota.
कृपया ध्यान आपको अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವರೈ ಚೆನ್ನೈ ತಿರುಚಿರಾಪಳ್ಳಿ
Hyderabad Punjab Express
পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন।
कृपया ध्यान दो